Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109 carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Martyn Element. He's a Vancouver marketing and corporate advisor who focuses on sourcing and pursuing new business ventures and opportunities. Happy Thanksgiving, Martyn.
Happy Thanksgiving to all the listeners. And it's been a heck of a Thanksgiving, hasn't it, with the entertainment that we had last night from across the border.
Well, speaking of Trump and business, you have an interesting story involving somebody that most of us older folks would know, Merv Griffin, noted talk show host.
Yes, I had occasion. Time flies so fast, and it's an upsetting part of life, but I'd like to say it was 5 years. It was probably 10 years ago. I spent some time in the company of Merv Griffin. He was interested in a friend of mine who makes feature movies. And I was down in Los Angeles, and my friend said, "Look, Martyn, I've got to go and meet Merv Griffin, and I don't really have a manager, but I'd love you to tell Merv you're my manager." Well, I said, "Well, I won't exactly tell him that, but I'll go along with you." So I spent quite a bit of time with Merv Griffin, and nice chap that he was, very nice man. And over dinner one night, he relayed a story to me about Donald Trump. And he said, "You know, what a dreadful, awful man that is," he said. What a terrible man. He said, when we were going toe-to-toe building casinos in Atlantic City, it was a real dogfight for real estate and building and trying to get the best positions in that part of the world at the time. And Donald wrote Merv an awful letter. Merv said it was by far the worst letter he'd ever received in his entire life. It was vulgar, it was disgusting, and it was just an awful, vile letter. And what Merv did is that he wrote back to Donald and told Donald that he should be, really, really careful. They actually spoke on the phone as well, I believe. But he told Donald that he thought that Donald has a major security leak, because somebody has managed to get hold of his letterhead and is writing the most awful, disgusting letters that you, I know that you wouldn't write such terrible things, Donald, and how awful those letters were. And of course, the upshot of that story is, apart from him saying what an awful, vile man Donald was, that he got the right result without having to have a slanging match and lowering himself to his standards. But yes, that was a forerunner to me, and it's not unlike, as I mentioned to Jim earlier, that when poor Michael Jackson passed on, and the family got very involved immediately afterwards, and some of the things that came out from some of the family members were quite disgusting and awful. And it was no surprise to me at all on that one, because I actually directly did business with the Jackson 5. And I was involved in a company at the time which signed up to Jackson 5 to go into the studio. And when we paid $1 million US for them to go into the studio to make the music. And with one thing and another, we never did get them into the studio. And it was just an awful set of circumstances, and they were dreadful. Not all of them. There was one of the brothers, I'm trying to remember which one, but one of the brothers wasn't so bad. But it was just another example of saying, well, it doesn't surprise me that they're disgusting, and it doesn't surprise me that there's all kinds of awful things coming out after the fact, because I directly was involved with the brothers myself, straight on, personally. So it's just you experience things, and that's what you keep hearing, of course, about personal experiences with Donald, and I'm sure so many of them are true. And it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. But I looked at the gold price last night. I just wanted to see whether it's spiked or spiking with one thing and another. But it's still, I think it's going to come back tomorrow morning. Although I don't know what it's doing today because we're off, but of course America isn't. But at the moment it's trading, I think, exactly where it left off before the weekend. So in other words, the Clinton Punch and Judy show there hasn't affected the price of gold yet. And much like many of the stocks, I think we're having very sideways movements going on because of the because people say the uncertainty of the election, but not for gold, of course. It's been a very, very turbulent time for a lot of these gold companies over the last 2 weeks.
Yes, will November 8 go down as a day that will live forever in the history of infamy?
Yes, November the 8th will be it'll be a very, very memorable time. And somebody said this morning that who cares who won or lost the debate? America has already lost. America is, unfortunately, I think, in a terrible place right now. And it's so sad to see that. And I think an awful lot of it, in my opinion, is the media. I think the media plays far too big a role in these matters and has far too much power. But what can you do? We're a free society, and that is what it is. But I think it's very sad what's going on. It is very sad what's going on over in Germany too, with the, changing gears completely on here. They're watching the Deutsche Bank having its problems at the moment. It's been fined and one thing and another by the Americans for a lot of the things it's been doing and doing its business in America. And I see that Merkel, the head of Germany, isn't exactly running in to save the day yet. But their deposits go into trillions and trillions of dollars, of course. But it's interesting to see how the Germans are managing their own dirty laundry, and not dirty laundry, but their own problems within their country. It'll be interesting to see, especially, after what happened with Greece and how they managed Greece at the time, and even though it was a euro, I mean, it was the Germans that seemed to be dictating the terms. So the world turns, and things just keep going on, and it makes for a very interesting time for us watching all this.
We'll have more with Martyn Element right after the break.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Martyn Element. Martyn, when people are looking at mining investments, the geopolitics of that particular area are so important. One of the reasons why Canada is a favorite place for investors is it doesn't matter who the government is. Agreements that are made will be followed through. But other countries, say Colombia, where we thought the 50-year-old civil war with FARC was over, but the people voted down the agreement in a referendum. And you said Colombia has all kinds of opportunity that now may be missed.
Well, I think it's a bit. I hope. I'm a positive person. I am optimist. I hope that they're not missed, but it certainly puts a cold shiver down a lot of people's spines because I am familiar with numerous deals over the last 6 months that have been done successfully from a financing point of view, particularly in the gold arena, and just more recently, working some of the bigger boys working on these towers, these cell towers in Colombia are not that prolific yet, because they've probably been easy targets for blowing up, but they're building a tremendous amount of these towers, and once they're up, they're very, very profitable. So there's been some significant financings being done or in the process of being done on that front, not just gold properties. But anytime you get the problems with that not being signed, you'll probably for the last year or years, people have seen that the lights have been turning green and just almost taking for granted that was the way the vote was going to go that way. And of course, it hasn't. They lost. So yes, and Colombia is one of the most desirable places. I was talking with some friends looking at doing a significant casino complex down there. About 5 or 6 months ago, they were talking to me extensively, and they were saying that they've done all the on part of their material and for selling the project. They had it that Colombia is now one of the most desirable areas in that part of the world to be involved in, because so many positive numbers can be shown. Well, it's just to be hoped that the FARC doesn't cause more problems again, because it's like these deals in these countries where you have these ongoing fights. That I saw a deal in the last 2 weeks with a lovely gentleman out of Haiti, and he was looking to do some gold, had some actual hard gold numbers, and he had a tremendous amount of potential for gold and mining, and not just gold, it was copper as well, in Haiti. And the big group that is there is a major mining company. Come on, Martyn. One of the big, was it not Kinross, or is it Kinross that's there? One of the biggest mining companies has a tremendous holdings in the country. But, it was amazing, because it is an island, of course, a large island, and 50% to the east is, I think, is Haiti, and then the other 50% is Dominican Republic. Well, Dominican Republic, of course, has been very friendly, and things have been organized and very steady as a country. And as Jim was just mentioning, how destabilizing the opposite can be, because you look at a map of the mines, the successful mines, and you can put sort of putting a pencil, not down the middle, but almost the middle of the island. And on the right, you've got Dominican Republic, and mine after mine after mine successfully, all kinds of mines, right up to the border, of course. And you look at Haiti, which has been bogged down with so much political turmoil and problems and one thing and another. And, there's like 3 or 4 crosses or mines, yet there's probably 44 on the other side, and a lot of them right up to the border. Those numbers aren't exact, listeners, but you get what I'm saying. So it's a bit like looking at those maps that I've seen a lot over the years, where you look at Argentina and you look at Chile, up there, and then particularly up in the north of the countries where they border each other. And you look at up in the Andes there, and you look at the tremendous amount of mines up in Chile, which has been friendly, steady, business friendly, and hundreds of mines running all the way down like a spine of the Andes, where there's the Chilean side of the country. But you look on the other side across to Argentina, which has been plagued with problems of one kind and another as a country. And there's no mines there, hardly any, like very few. So, mines and gold and these resources, of course, they don't stop at the border. They keep on going. So the opportunities abound in places like Haiti. And I gave this fellow my full support. I said, look, you want me to use anything I can do or help, I would love to be involved, and I'd love to have that on my reputation. I said, if anything I can do, and realizing, of course, that it's a tough place to do business. And 2 things happened in the following week after I met with this wonderful gentleman trying to do something in Haiti. 2 things happened. One was that friends of mine in the city, they made some calls back to London, because they thought London might be a place that would back something like this, and I'm told that the response was awful, just dreadful, not interested, too much risk, not interested. And then, of course, to really top it off, Hurricane Matthew comes through and just does so much destruction again. And boy, if a country could ever need a hand, but you're right, where we started this discussion was the political risk and the problems that can happen. And some people frown so much about mining, I know, and especially the environmentalists, and often they're right, of course, when they're going into some of the most beautiful, pristine parts of the world, and that's understandable. But these poor, impoverished countries that have nothing, Haiti is the worst country in the world from an economic. I think Nicaragua was number 2 in the Western Hemisphere. But mining can help a lot, and doesn't need to be more destructive, especially these days, where if you got they can be so environmentally conscious and cannot be quite so causing all the troubles. But It remains to be seen what's going to happen, and I'm hoping that I can revisit with the story of Haiti, because I would love to be involved in that, as I said, you know.
What's the feeling about the Canadian junior gold miners right now with the price of gold making its sudden drop over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I just wrote some notes to myself here before the show, and I said, you know, if you're a brave person, or not a brave person, if you're a good business head and you've got monies to spend, which there's a tremendous amount of money around, of course, still with these zeros interest rates, the money is awash of people looking for opportunities. So I think for now, anyway, the game is still very much on behind the scenes. The prices have changed of what people are willing to pay for these assets. But you know, if you're really thinking that gold has a future, or the world has a future, which of course it does, you're making copper deals, you're making zinc deals, you're making gold deals. And so, but it's affected the prices, of course. Someone was saying to me, Majestic Silver, I think was $25 less than like 2 months ago, and I heard the other day it was 11, and then someone says, no, Martin, it's just trading at 10 now. So, I mean, people would argue that Keith Niedermeyer's done too good a job of promoting the stock, but meanwhile, 25 down to 10 or 11, that's a long way down for these gold stocks and silver stocks, Jim. So, yeah, there's been a lot of ice cold water poured onto a lot of the investors at the moment. And I was involved in something myself, and that's when I flew back to Toronto, and the day that I was sitting down talking to some people about a situation, gold had dropped more than it had in 3 years. Well, you know, I was on one side of the fence there, and the other people were on the other side of the fence, and of course the meeting was awful because it was just a sideways movement, and more than a sideways, it was people saying, well, I can't do the deal, or we're not doing this, we're not doing that. What I did notice was I was at a major brokerage firm in Toronto, and I happened to go to the bathroom, and on the way back, I went just past the trading room. I could see the trading room, quite a big one. It was 3/4 empty, and it was the middle of the morning. There wasn't a meeting going on. It's a sign of the times that these brokerage firms are still very much on the ropes. I heard Canaccord let all of their trading desks go here in Vancouver. Canaccord, I call it the right name, but it's Genuity. It's not so much the Canaccord name, it's Genuity now. But they let the whole trading desk go here in Vancouver. And I think it's that whole football field is changing so fast, you know, because of the wealth management and the way that the monies are being more and more organized through the banks. There's still opportunities there, though. There's still things to be looked at. And I still like, of anything right now in the junior mining space, I still like the lithium space. As I say, it's behaved very well stock-wise through this last correction. And you pick up the newspaper whichever way you turn, and you hear that Mercedes or Volkswagen are building huge, massive battery factories and car factories and bringing out all their new cars. Well, they are going to need a lot of lithium and cobalt, listeners. Cobalt is getting a lot of play lately, and as it should, I believe. So it's going to be interesting times, and it's been an interesting few weeks, and I'm sure there'll be lots more to talk about again, Jim.
And Martin, for our younger listeners, Merv Griffin is the person who created the game show Jeopardy.
The Jeopardy and The Price is Right.
Yes.
And if you watch the end of the show, it's still the Griffin organization. And that word genius gets used too much, but a very, very, very clever man, of course, is his closest friend was Ronald Reagan's wife, Nancy.
Really?
Yeah, that was his closest friend. And yes, it was an interesting part. When I had dinner with him on numerous occasions, I used to make a list of people he'd had on the show to see, you know, like all these different characters that we've seen in our lifetimes. It was an amazing, some amazing dinners, some amazing times there, Jim. Well, 2 weeks time.
2 weeks.
Look forward to it, Jim, and happy Thanksgiving to all the listeners.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
My guest has been Martyn Element. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at Talk Digital Net. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Happy Thanksgiving.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.